And welcome, everybody. My name is Ian. I'm the Beery Traveler. With me, as always, is Sean. He'll be joining us either for a Southern show. We're going to do a very Southern-themed beers this evening. We've got peach. We've got Arnold Palmer flavored beers tonight, and definitely an Atlanta classic beer as well. Before we get into those, we've got Gangster Grass with us tonight. We've got Danjo. We've got Dolio, and we've got Sleeves with us tonight. Thank you for joining us this evening.
For sure. Thanks for having us.
We'll be talking to you about a few of your adventures. One thing I didn't realize when I looked at you, you guys actually have quite a catalog. You've been releasing a few albums. You're on iTunes. You've got like 5 or 6 albums on there from what I've seen, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Album number 6 is like of the big official stuff is coming out 1 week from tonight.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
No Time for Enemies.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll definitely get into your story, but let's talk about some of these beers first that we're going to be drinking. So the first one we're going to try is the Red Hare Brewing Ain't That a Peach. It's a Berliner Weiss. We're also going to try the New Realm Brewing's Southern Tea Berliner Weiss. And then we've also got the Atlanta Brewing Company's Homestand Pilsner this evening that we'll finish up with. But we'll start with the Red Hare. This is in the city that me and Sean both live in, Marietta, Georgia. So if you're not familiar with Atlanta, we're just north, up 75. We're like the next big town up from Atlanta.
All right.
It's a big airport.
I just realized I left the peach one downstairs.
Oh,
It would take me a second to run and grab it if that would be all right. So.
Yeah.
Do it. Go
No,
for it.
grab it. So we'll crack these.
All right.
So Berliner Weiss, Sean, we've been drinking these summer, and I've actually
we have.
I've grown quite fond of the Berliner Weiss. It's a very good summer beer. Like when it's hot out, something by the pool. This is great.
I like that nose.
Yeah, it's definitely got that funk
peach
to it.
tartness?
Yeah.
you're way ahead of me. I haven't even poured it yet. Taking my time.
Oh man.
Yeah, that is
That's
funky.
Just screaming. Let's see.
That's
So this one,
It does have that kind of peach pie sort of thing. Like I'm on the eastern shore at the big farm stand, and they have a bunch of peach pies right around this time of year.
Oh, man.
So something about Berliner Weiss. We'll give you a little refresher course because we have been talking about what it is. Basically, it's a beer that was invented in Hanover, Germany, but it was very much popularized by the people of Berlin. It was actually the most popular beverage in Berlin at the turn of the 19th century. Kind of fell off, but it's definitely making a strong comeback. A lot of breweries have Berliner Weiss in their catalog. Usually what they are, when you get a little flavor with it, with the tartness, is they are doing secondary fermentation with these fruits or these flavors, which gives that more of a standout of the note rather than kind of like with IPAs. We'll talk about this a little bit later with the dry hopping, where you're adding the hops later because you really want the flavor of the hops to come out and not be cooked off when they produce the wort in the first place. So, onto this beer.
Yeah, let's taste it.
I
I already tasted it while you were talking.
It's good.
Yeah, we all did.
Drink away.
Yeah. Nice and crisp.
That's good, man. Like it
Ooh.
smells like what you'd expect from a peach jelly rancher,
Yeah.
and it tastes. I mean, like a Berliner Weiss that had a peach to it. Like it's
It's got
that's
the
really
peach
good.
tartness to it. It's like, but you can also get like the peach fuzz note of it as well.
Yeah, like very much like the
nose and
skin.
the drink at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in no way heavy at all. It kind of reminds me of how flavored seltzer water has become a thing right now, and you don't have any sweetener to really, weigh you down. I mean, you could easily I don't know how many of these you could drink without breaking it. It's like 3.8, I think, too. So it's
Yeah,
just not at
3.8.
all
Yeah.
heavy, like totally refreshing.
Yeah.
A good
And
summer
the
beer.
seltzers, a lot of the seltzers will use these beers as the base for the seltzer.
Huh.
Didn't know that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. They'll do a wheat base or something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very
So
crushable.
clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely can throw down a few of these if you need to. Yeah. Up
That's
here
it.
in Marietta, Georgia, just north of town. We're famous. We got Civil War stuff here.
Hooray!
I live like less than a half a mile away from
Right.
the battlefield.
Right. All signs, no statues.
Yeah. Well, there's a statue
Oh.
there.
Oh, is there? I never
There's a
saw it.
giant statue, yeah, at the top of the hill where the Yankees stormed us. But
That's terrifying.
no, it's actually quite a view because you like look down on the battlefield where from the top of the ridge. I go running through there every day, and you're like looking down. And it's like you imagine though what it would be like just standing there with a musket looking down at all that. But it's amazing. But
Speaking of history,
let's talk about our guests
right?
and what you guys. So how did you guys start? What got you together making music? Where did you meet?
Well, our producer, band leader / band's leader is who pulled us all together. His name's Wrench. His folks are from Oklahoma, but he grew up in California. During the 80s, basically hip hop was starting to blow up around that time. But his folks will always be listening to country and stuff around the house. So he'd go off at school and be like spinning around on the cardboard and listening to Beat Street and LL Cool J and those type of things. But he always still had the country influence happening when he got home. So when he went away to college in New York, he started doing production, hip hop production, but then always wanted to like bring in country and honky tonk and bluegrass elements into the stuff. And eventually doing things with different sounds. I met him when we were together in a different band that was more of like a honky tonk hip hop funk band fusion.
B-Star.
Called Battlestar America, B-Star. But then he started formulating the Gangsta Grass sound. Then he felt it would sound better if it was an actual band doing it live as opposed to like sampling the different sounds. So over the years, we've the players have changed a bit, but there's been sort of a core that stayed together, and the sound has evolved to something that's more organic now. So like to where it's really its own animal now. So yeah, we've been doing it since about 2012 or so.
After Wrench put out a sort of initial thing, Wrench Presents Gangsta Grass, and that had a bunch of samples and was sort of pulled together by him, and it had such a big underground impact that the producers of the TV show Justified, as they were getting the show together, called him up and said, hey, we really want that sound for our theme song. And so that's when he pulled together Tones, who's a great MC, and a bunch of other folks to create Long Hard Times to Come, which is the theme song to the TV show Justified, which got an Emmy nomination in, I want to say, 2010. So there's definitely been some, going back at least to that far, to the origins of Gangsta Grass.
Yeah.
Yep. And Dan, you wanna talk a little bit about how Wrench found you?
Yeah, well, it's a funny long story. So Craigslist.
Seeking banjo player.
That was it. That's the whole story. I love telling people that story, but it's true. Yeah, no,
You didn't have to meet him in a bathroom, did you?
No, we didn't have to. I mean, we did, but that was big. No. So this was before. So we I came in and tried it out, and I had an open mind, and it's been a blast. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's a good fit for the banjo too, but you'll hear that.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it.
There's so much that I want to ask that I feel like I haven't had enough beer to with that
Oh yeah,
Craigslist portion of that.
Start asking about that.
Well, it's funny you say that because we are doing a Reddit Ask Me Anything on Tuesday.
Yeah,
So if you don't have enough beer tonight, I'd be surprised. But if you want to save it till Tuesday, that's fine.
yeah, you're gonna do some day drinking and jump on the
There you
Reddit.
Jump on the keyboard.
Yeah.
August
type
11th, 1
Ask us anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Anything.
So August 11th at 1 p.m.
That's right.
That's right.
And it'll go about
Awesome.
an hour, 90 minutes, something like that. And then
Yeah.
we do a regular Twitch stream too. So we'll take it at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll pop over to the Twitch and kind of continue answering questions and
Some gangster
getting
grass
extra
after dark.
goofy.
Yeah. So when you're ready.
Love this peach.
Make
I'm really into this.
sure you
Post show.
You know what's funny is I was actually going to make a peach pie today, and I didn't.
What? Oh, Dolio's pie is outstanding. If you have a chance, check out his song "Sweet Potato Pie," which
Yeah,
is, honest to God, the entire recipe for the most delicious pie I have ever eaten in my
Yeah, I
life
turned
in the song.
my sweet potato pie recipe into a song. So the lyrics of the song will tell. By the time you're done listening to the song, you will have baked 2 pies. One for yourself that you can stash away, that you don't have to share, and one that you can share.
That could
Ace.
be a very good post-show song.
Yeah. Hey, send me the recipe for your peach pie too, because that's the one thing I'm really proud of in my backyard right now is Georgia is known for their peaches, but New Jersey actually, we grow insanely good peaches, and I have a peach tree in my backyard that's putting off some really nice peach. I should probably go get some, but
Dan,
Yeah.
can you bring some of those on Monday, please?
yeah, I can. They won't be ripe, but
Oh.
And
Yeah,
Dan's right.
sure.
New Jersey
Sure, like,
actually produces
right
more
at the end
peaches
of
than
peach
Georgia
tree.
does.
oh yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
It does.
It's a good climate for it right now. We got crepe myrtle too. That's new for us.
What now?
Crepe myrtle. Just this. It's usually more of a southern thing, but
We've got a lot of it in our
Jersey's-
yard.
Yeah, New Jersey just got warm enough now.
I'm not from Georgia originally. What crepe myrtle?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little flowering.
That's a tree that grows down here.
Okay, cool. I honestly, you could have said it was a type of crepe. I have no idea.
It's delicious.
It's a whole
little
new-
thin pancakes.
Group
I'm
of
gonna show
sounds
you-
that you just put together for me.
It's
I'm gonna
like
show you
as a DC
Alicia's
person-
little garden. There's some growing in Alicia's little garden out front of my house. I'll
Aw.
show you what it is.
So as a DC person, I go to Portland, and one of their favorite berry there is the Marion berry. And in DC, Marion Barry was a catastrophic
Yeah.
mayor. So
Yep.
like a Marion berry pie? I don't know.
It's, a, it's just
What's
it's
in
like,
it?
like a
That's my
big
frat
one.
brother you're
Like,
talking about.
Just sprinkle a little
Yeah.
crack on it.
Yeah, no, I grew up in DC too, and it's a funny place. I mean, it really is kind of, it's like the start. It's the beginning of the South. It's the I define it as the border, really, because it's a southern city in a lot of ways. But
Oh yeah, you're like right next
Right
to
on the-
Alexandria, essentially. So,
oh yeah,
and then it's
Oh, yeah.
Virginia.
that's
Real
right.
Quick.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we gave back the Virginia part, but otherwise, yeah.
Thank you. That's where I'm sitting right now. The Virginia part
Uh-huh.
that DC gave back. We appreciate it.
That's right.
All right, let's move on to the next beer.
All
Beer
right.
number
We're
2.
Yeah.
Southern.
Oh yes.
It's a
So
Southern
we're
tea.
So New Realm, we had their head brewer on the show a few weeks ago, a couple months ago. So Mitch Steele is the brewmaster there, co-owner. You can get this beer in Virginia. They also have a Virginia brewery as well.
All right.
New Realm, Mitch Steele he was the brewmaster for Stone Brewery, if you've ever heard
Oh
of
yeah,
it. Out of
yeah, for
California
sure.
for years.
The IPA masters.
Yeah, and he's like the guy who they say wrote the book on the modern day IPA.
Wow.
We were thank you, Mitch, for coming on and talking to us. We definitely learned a good bit from you.
Come back,
But,
Mitch. Come back.
Look
Yeah,
at that
capacity.
color.
Wow.
Look at that color.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
this is a very
That's
interesting beer. So it's actually an Arnold Palmer.
Oh, I
Berliner Weiss.
love it. It smells like an Arnold Palmer.
Yes. So notice the name is Southern T, T-E, like a golf tee. So I guess a little tribute, you know, which is so weird because we're going to have the Masters in the fall down here. That's going to be the craziest thing ever.
Oh, yeah. A bunch of old people getting together. That's a good idea.
Wow, this
Well, if they do it, because they're playing them now and they're not having any fans, but you know,
This
it'll
tastes
be
like
so
an Arnold
weird.
Palmer.
Did they
Right.
have fans
Yeah.
before?
it's like a carbonated tea.
It
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
tastes
Oh, wait, you already
100%
tasted it.
like Arnold
Oh.
Palmer.
And
So,
it's
so they do brew this with
5%. That's surprising.
4.8%,
What is it?
4.8%
Wow.
ABV.
Oh,
This is
Yeah,
actually
that's
brewed.
smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually brewed with black tea, lemon juice, and they use a hops called lemon drop hops, which
Oh,
is
that's
actually
clutch.
a hybrid hop that is made with Cascade hops, which is a pretty popular IPA hops. So hence the Mitch Steele's influence, I'm sure, with that.
Wow.
I mean,
Now, what do
this
you know?
is-
What do you know about the milk sugar? Because it is that for mouthfeel or what's? Why is this so perfect?
So they
Why
use
is it so
stuff like
good?
that. Milk sugar. Where did you see that on the can?
Yeah, it's the last thing under unique ingredients after flaked oats, which, by the way, I'm also curious about.
Flecked oats. It's basically just shucked oats, is what that is. But milk sugar they use to give it introduce a little bit of lactic acid to the beer. The last one also had a little bit of that too. So it gives it that creaminess almost to it. There's not a lot on this, but it gives it, that's what sours kind of need, that a little bit. Otherwise it's gonna really be sour if
Oh,
you don't have a little something to balance it out.
yeah.
So
It's-
you add a little
it's
bit
what-
of lactic acid to it.
Right at the end of, like, as you're drinking it.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
that
man, I keep
gives it
talking over
almost that. It almost keeps that tea quality to it as well, though.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the lemon juice would totally drown that out, and the hops and the beer. It keeps the tea relevant.
It's like a hard minerally. I don't know if they even treat the water differently or something, but it's like a good tea. It's like an English breakfast or a Scottish tea.
Yeah.
Like it's that they really like. I bet they make a really good Arnold Palmer too.
Yeah. I bet it's probably just what they pour in, just get the Arnold Palmer in there. But yeah, it's like hot tea that was made into the iced tea.
mm.
It's
Instead
funny,
of just brewed that way.
I was actually thinking it was more reminiscent of like a sun tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Where it's brewed,
Smooth.
where you get it hot first before you add the ice to it.
Yeah.
This
I was
is
say that
so much more of this. I'm so glad you told me it is sold in Virginia. I am gonna get some.
Yeah.
Could be.
Get extra sleeves. Get extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Virginia Beach is where they have their brewery, so I'm not sure how far they go, but once you're in a state, you can go pretty much anywhere to sell it. So some liquor stores got it around. But yeah, New Elm, they make some amazing IPAs as well.
Oh man.
We have a local store near here, Arrow Wine, and the beer guy there is pretty spectacular. So I bet if we don't already have this, we could just pursue him.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right. Now it's back to the band storytelling time. So how did you guys congeal and make 6 albums? You know,
what does that been like to do?
Tell us that story.
I think kind of the most interesting piece of that actually is right now how we made this most recent album, because we have all been sequestered in not just different homes, but different states. I mean, you know, Dan's in Jersey, and the MPs are both out of Philadelphia, and Wrench the Mastermind is up in Brooklyn. We have a fiddle and bass player who's based out of Baltimore. So, I'm on the op side of things, and I'm in DC. So we had to figure out how to create an album where the first 3 songs were already recorded in the studio. We had that done. We had Nickel and Dime Blues, Freedom, and Ain't No Crime recorded in the studio. And then we were about to go to the studio the very next weekend when New York went into lockdown and everybody started realizing that they needed to stay home for some unspecified period of time. So here we kind of had the great benefit, and Dan can definitely talk about this more, about having played together for so many years and so much that we actually were able to have Wrench lay down the beats and the guitar and the sort of vocal outline of the song and send that out, and then everybody was able to put their own pieces on that and send their pieces back to Wrench, who was then able to produce the songs in his studio at home in his basement and create each of those songs from scratch. And some of these songs were songs that had been played very little together,
if ever.
One of the songs on the album was created through a kick the can on Twitch. Brian started playing bass and it went on.
Yeah, we built that one piece by piece. But most of the album was stuff that we had written prior to the lockdown.
Yeah.
And we had at least rehearsed most of it. Because we've been, our writing style has evolved over the years because a lot of the stuff that we had been writing before we were writing them on the road, really. Basically different ideas that would come to us while we were on the road touring. And some of the songs on previous albums were stuff that we like wrote that night and then played the night we wrote it, and then eventually just kept tuning it up. But this one we were able to sort of work these songs out, and some of them were songs that I guess the fans were waiting for us to actually have a recorded version of the song because they heard it on the road. And they're like, when can we get this thing?
Yeah.
So some of these are definitely crowd tested because we're able to and the cool thing about doing that is that you're able to get all the crusty, funky pieces into it. Stuff that you can tell, the stuff that that when you play it, you can see the reaction.
Yeah.
So you try to capture that when you redo it, and fortunately we all. With the exception of our son, we all already had home studios. Our son has a home studio now, which we kind of helped him get that thing together, and he learned how to record on his own at home now, so that we could make this thing happen. But thank God for technology, man.
Yeah, it's amazing the stuff we're able to do these days. So like the process has definitely evolved, and we've gotten it to be more collaborative and more, evolutionary, where some of the songs get to breathe on the road, and we don't just write it and go straight to the studio most of the time. But the basic method has always been there from the beginning, and it's surprising. I think it surprises a lot of people how easy it is, and that's sort of what's reassuring, that like at the end of the day, we don't really modify like it. I don't know. You take an Arnold Palmer, right? An Arnold Palmer is lemonade and iced tea. You don't need to change the lemonade at all. You don't need to change the iced tea at all. You just put them together, and somehow it just works.
Yeah.
It just works out. So I'm playing bluegrass. I'm singing a song maybe that I wrote the lyrics and the music, and the MCs come in and they rap, and we have beats. And I mean, it's as simple as taking turns. You go to a jam or a pick, or you go to like a hip hop cypher, and it's the same format. You're going around in a circle, and okay, your turn. All right, you take a banjo break. Boom, boom, boom. All right, now it's your turn. You spit some bars, and it all just comes together like easier than you'd think.
Yeah. I mean, and it helps that we've been together for so many years now, I guess, that we've been able to kind of read what each person is doing. So
oh yeah,
we can kind of feel where we fit in together.
Yeah.
I feel like after listening, I listened to you guys today while I was running and doing my stuff today, and I think that you guys remind me a lot of a band, not by sound, but of the design of and how you run the band, of a band called Thievery Corporation. Have y'all ever heard of them?
Oh,
Yeah, we've actually hung out with them. We played. Well, we were supposed to play this particular festival where we got rained out and stormed out, and what was it? Was Summer Camp was the name of it? I think that was the
In
name of it.
West Virginia?
No, it wasn't West Virginia. It was somewhere in Illinois. It was Mr. Liff was performing with them, and I knew Mr. Liff from my years in Cambridge. So we ended up kicking it with them because he was performing with Thievery Corporation. So those cats are really good, and the way that they meld together and mesh together and blend genres is also pretty awesome.
And how they can just kind of transition it from where you feel like you got some reggae, Haitian, hip hop coming at you, and then next thing you know, you're watching a sitar off on stage, and it's that's that's an awesome concert. That's an awesome live show where you can mix up genres and switch to this and transition to it so easily, and it sounds like that's what y'all are going for and try to do.
I guess the difference would be that there's also the beats are going the whole time, and the banjo and fiddle and the guitar are going the whole time. So it's less of that taking turns. I mean, we take turns in the solos, but it's everything's going the whole time. So it's always bluegrass and it's always hip hop, and it ends up being sort of kind of a different third thing by the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to come see you guys play live sometime.
Oh, the live show is outstanding. Now, I will say our last album was a live album. So if you want to get a sense of the live show, that's a nice way to do it. One of the amazing things about coming to a live show is that our son, the voice of reason, Dolio's partner in emceeing, is an incredible, unbelievable master of freestyle. And, he will get out into the crowd. He'll be rapping off the top of his head about what we did that day, about the person he's looking at in the crowd right there, about a conversation he had with a fan right before the show. It's an incredibly interactive experience to be at a Gangsta Grass show.
So I was kind of curious with since your music style as far as performing live to going into the studio is somewhat inverted from a normal band. Whereas a lot of times a band might take a week, 6 months, a year, make an album and then tour it. It kind of seems like this is inverted. Do you find that once you do record, the song doesn't change too much once you once you perform it again on the road?
No, it's always changing.
It's always changing? Because,
the thing is that the song will be different depending on the audience, which is why our live album, I think it was something that was kind of imperative for us to record because we wanted a way to capture that feel. Because a lot of the stuff we did do, we'd record it in the studio before we'd go out and play it, and then people would be like, on the album I love it, but on live it's even crazier because as you play these songs hundreds, sometimes thousands of times, there's these incremental changes every time you play it in front of a different audience, and it always has these little shifts according to how you're feeling that day, the energy of the audience, what type of energy you're trying to transfer to that audience. So and you like Sleeves mentioned earlier, you that's something that's sort of captured in our live album. Basically, we recorded. It was this 28 city tour that we did, and we, ended up recording the sets in all these different cities, and then we, pieced together not pieced together, but grabbed the best performances of each song in each city that we thought was the best example of that. And I believe the majority of those were also videotaped.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have videos of those live performances of the ones that are on the album. So what you get is like Keep Talking in St. Louis. You get Never Go Home Again in like Chicago, and you get this other one in
Yeah, Gunslinging Rambler in
Right.
where was it in New York?
New York.
Upstate Geneseo, New York.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Geneseo. Yeah, it was.
Wow, yeah.
So
Yeah.
So you get the different feel, you get the feel of that audience and how we were feeling that particular night when we were doing it. And each time it's, you know, each time it's unique. It's they're unique snowflakes. And they're the way that snowflakes all have that same symmetrical 6-pointed shape. There's a uniformity in the shape, but they're all unique in the way that they present themselves.
Nice. Well said.
Very cool.
Also, we do have, because it was really hard to choose which one of those live performances of each song to put on the album. We have a bunch of live recordings of other performances of those songs that are unreleased. So,
So
because
technically we have 28 albums.
Right. Because we're in this wacky
28 versions of that album.
world. Right. We could keep, but instead what we're doing is we're releasing them to our subscribers.
Yeah.
So, you know, those people who are what we call our barnstormers, who, you know, support us every month, which is amazing when we're not out on tour. And so we're releasing those songs to them exclusively because they are really great. They just, you know, weren't the one that fit on the album.
Yeah.
So that's really
like for instance, we have a song called Long Gray River.
Yes.
And what it is it's the follow-up to another song we have called 2 Yards. And 2 Yards is a song where we basically perform a robbery. And Long Gray River is the escape. So every time we perform that song, the first verse is the same, but the second verse is a meticulous explanation of the escape from that particular venue in whatever town you're in. So there's landmarks of whatever stuff we saw on the drive.
Really cool.
But
now you've challenged me to follow you on a tour, so I can hear the song at different spots.
Right.
See, and that's why I love being in this band, because you wouldn't even know how great that was. Like, you could go to one show and you'd think, man, that was so cool. They did that. They must have spent like all day, you know, they must have been spent weeks like writing that and preparing it. And no way, man, we whipped that together. And like, I mean, our son just opened his mouth and it came out. And you realize that only when you see show after show after show, and you realize like, this is just how it is for us all the time. And that's why I'm so lucky to be in this band. I just love seeing that, you know, progress over time.
We're going to talk about more about that in a second, because we do have to move on to the next beer.
Oh yeah, we do.
We are definitely running talk, but you guys are awesome storytellers. But we're going to talk about this one, Atlanta Brewing Company. This is the
sharp.
Pilsner.
It's a Pilsner. So we have our tall glass.
So we have the taller glass for the Pilsner. So this is what they claim to be as traditional and bohemian as they can. So,
oh my God,
a traditional Pilsner. So Pilsner was invented in the town of Pils, Czechoslovakia, or whatever it's called now.
Yep.
And that's the oldest Pilsner. Pilsner Urquell is the oldest Pilsner in the world, but all the beers like Budweiser and Miller Lite and all these beers are modeled after this style of beer. This one is a 5.2, so a jump up in the alcohol on those other styles of beers that I mentioned before.
It's a little hazy.
Wow.
A little hazy for a Pilsner.
It reminds me of like a haunted house.
Yeah. Now, this one is dry hopped. Not a lot of Pilsners are dry hopped.
I noticed that.
This is dry hopped with Mosaic and Cascade hops. So those are also very popular hazy style IPA hops to use. So without tasting this, I would say that you're going to get a little bit of citrus notes and tropical fruit notes on it.
Yeah.
Just from those style of hops that are on it.
I smelled something familiar and I thought maybe it was Mosaic or something similar.
Yeah.
which is weird. It's unusual for a Pils, I think.
Yes, very.
But it's
You get
delicious.
More of a piney happiness to it.
Yeah.
The malts are almost in the back note on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost, to me, it's almost like a muted IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
like
very
that.
muted. None of the bitterness.
But this is definitely still a lager, though, where it's cold fermented, it's cold brewed.
It's a dry
I like
hop
that
lager.
increase. I like the hoppiness without it being too overpowering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. These are all three really subtle, mature beers. Like the peach Berliner is not overly sour or sweet, and then the Arnold Palmer is just hits you with those flavors, and then this is just a crisp beer. I mean, these are great. These are all great.
They're doing beer right in Atlanta. I will say that. These are only scratching the surface of beers that we've talked about from here in Georgia. We've taken one trip this summer to kind of get out and look at different local stuff, but I feel like we've got a nice little area of beers that we can choose from down here without having to go too far away.
Got good stuff.
And tips from you for next time we go to Atlanta. The last couple of times we've been in Atlanta, we've been playing at the City Winery, so of course it's all about the wine.
Yeah, well, and you're in the Ponce City Market and that whole new area of Atlanta. That's all the new brought up. Now,
biked around Cabbage Town, if that counts for anything.
What's that?
We biked around Cabbage Town, if that counts for anything.
Okay. Let me tell you this.
I'll twirl my mustache at you for that.
Uh-oh.
Across the street was the Masquerade. Did you ever play there?
No.
Mm-mm.
That was the venue of Atlanta to go to and play at, and it was like this old warehouse, and they had 2 levels. It was called Heaven and Hell. So, and then they had the Purgatory, which was like their side stage. But they're still, so Masquerade is now down at Atlanta Underground. It's not nearly the same as it was, but the old warehouse, I saw so many awesome shows. Like, I remember Blink-182 in the 90s there upstairs, and you could only see it. You had to win the tickets on the radio station by calling in. When this girl I worked with had called in and won the tickets, so we got to go, and it was Blink-182 as the headliner. You had the Ataris, and you had Sum 41 as the opener when they were just coming up. And it was like one of the coolest shows I've ever been to. It's like the Masquerade will always be one of those venues where I'm sad that it's gone. And Ponce City Market is one of the reasons why it's gone, is because they wanted to, instead of having what they had around there, they wanted to build apartment buildings and restaurants and stuff like that. So, but why not have a cool, classic rock venue right there,
Yeah.
Like everybody played the Masquerade and remembered the Masquerade.
There's definitely, I remember walking around that area, like getting further out from the market, but sort of, walking around there, and there's some really great public art around there, some amazing murals and various sculptures and stuff. And Dolio, your wife has a wall right.
Yeah, it's right on Buford Highway.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife.
That's a little ways from that area, but
yeah, there's a mural up there that she painted a few years ago. I just shared the link with you. So right by the farmers market.
Yes, the Buford Farmers Market. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle Angela, an amazing artist, and I've been really impressed with Atlanta every time I have gone in my adult life. It's a wonderful town.
City Market, just a few steps away on the Beltway, you can go find New Realm. They're right there.
I will.
Gotta stop.
This is delicious.
Yeah, that's one of the things we like to do on the road is to sample the local beers.
Oh, well, if you come to Atlanta, we can definitely show you around to some of those places here. Man. Like at the Braves Stadium, Terrapin they have a spot right there at the stadium.
I, honest to goodness, always thought Terrapin was a Maryland brewery. Is it not?
People think that.
No,
Well, and you know what's funny is I've got an interview that I did with Spike, who's the guy who started Terrapin, and they you know what the Terrapin is named after the album Terrapin Station by the Grateful Dead. That's what the brewery is named after, and they used to, I guess, when they first started brewing, they would give each other this little turtle sign from across the brewery. So, like, I'm stealing your turtle sign, but they would do that, like, just make, this sign. Like, I wear the Terrapin hat. Like, I'm a big fan of the Terrapin. But
how you do it.
But so when they first started brewing, actually one of their canneries, or where they were making the beer, was up in Maryland for a little while. And so
there you
when
go.
they had people talking about, when they were first selling the beer, they're like, people would mention that, like, are you from Maryland? And they're like, no, we're from Atlanta, but we're based out of Athens, but we brew the beer in Maryland.
Yeah, Athens, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love their art.
Turtle.
Their little their art on all the different varieties is adorable. This is really
and that's
great.
in my interview too. Like, we need to get that interview up on our site. But
Yeah.
I love their
he
stuff.
Talks all about, like, he is like what you look for when you're looking for that small brewer that made it.
Yeah,
And
because he did, right? I mean, that's great.
He tells the story so well, and I'm like, he sat with me for like an hour and a half and gave me this whole interview about where his starting was and how they came along, and they sold eventually to Miller Coors, and,
right. Yep.
And they still how it was like a gradual. They would buy more and more and more of the company over time, and he's like, if I have any problem with the beer, he's like, you think that most companies like that are, what's the problem here? Fix it now. He's like, no, I can call up here and I'm talking to the most popular beer people in the, country, that know beer more than anything. So but we need to move on and talk about you guys. You're going to sing a song for us.
Yeah.
We're
we'll do what
away.
we can. So
I'm actually privately getting yelled at.
Well, just to preface, there's only so much we can do live these days, since latency is an issue. But just to give you like the barest sense, so I'll just do a little bit of this song. This is a song called "You Can Never Go Home Again," and I'll try to keep it down since we're after quiet hours. And Dolio's going to come in with a verse at one point, so you get an idea. I remember 20 years ago, I was standing in that courtroom. My charges I could not defend. The last thing the judge said to me as he handed down my sentence is, you can never go home again. Never go home, never go home. You can never go home again.
Things is hard to say to glorify the strongest. When I left the home I haven't been to in the longest. The life by the sword forced to fall upon it. The kites flew, there was nobody left to correspond with. Familiar faces either passed on the flip, so there wasn't much left for me to do except dip. Too many years lost off the lies of the streets with in the line in the ditch now. Mystery. Never town reinventing history. I'm back on my path to get to see another day. Reframe my identity to get to sleep at night. about a fifth at least. The dirty breeze the unseen conflict, the conditions of release.
Never go home, never go home. You can't never go home. Never go home, never go home. You can't never go home again. That's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah.
the latency was
Good
good.
stuff.
Playing Easter Live is very, very hard in this Zoom world, but that was really well done, guys.
Yes, I
You get it.
Great.
No, I know it's definitely tough. With actually, it wasn't too much lag. At least on my side, hearing you guys.
Cool.
I think the only weird side of that is Dan was so into playing guitar, he kept rocking towards the microphone.
Oh no, did I? Oh dear.
It's okay. You know, you're feeling the emotion, and I appreciate that. And that's why you're so good at improvising live.
I suppose that's an emotion.
You should have seen me with long hair. I used to headbang all over the place.
I've looked back at some videos.
Oh man.
That's when you came on the video to start the show, and I was like, is that the same guy?
Who's that guy?
Is it every banjo player you just call Danjo? Is that it?
Little known secret.
Right? It's like James Bond.
Banjo player named Dan, anyway.
Well, cool thing is his hair grows so fast that, you know, that'll be a different person tomorrow.
It's true, man. How long is this podcast? I'll have it out to here. Don't worry. But
It
that's
goes
the
out like
idea.
that?
Yeah. So, but that's the idea of what we do. You know, you have to imagine a fiddle player and a guitar player and another MC and beats, and but at the core of it, you know, this is kind of the idea. You got it's bluegrass and hip hop.
Yeah, and we'll make sure you don't have to imagine it. Later on, we'll give you a taste of the new album.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Solid.
Yeah.
Oh no, that means it's cocktail o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Cocktail cam. All right. Woo! So this week, we're gonna do a couple weird things. Last week I made what everyone knows of as the Long Island iced tea. Vodka, gin, rum, tequila in most places, and triple sec with Coke and some sour mix. However, there is a contested progenitor of the Long Island iced tea. So the one that, as we know it, came out. So I'm sorry. Get your glasses of ice. So Tennessee has a little town, and a suburb of that town is called Long Island, and it's a little island on the river. And they claim and do have a cocktail from 1920 called a Long Island iced tea. It comes from this little island that they called Long Island. Now, the guy that invented it, Old Man Bishop, was the name of the bartender. He took whiskey, vodka, tequila, triple sec, rum, and maple syrup.
Oh.
And put that in a cocktail. So it is. Okay. It is not the cocktail as we know it, and there's a lot of well-meaning, well-intentioned cocktail websites where they'll say anything from the guy, Richard Butts, who invented the Long Island as we know it. It's like, oh, he stole the idea, he stole the cocktail. This is not what was originally intended, and you didn't credit anyone. However, his cocktail is different. It's a different composition. And if you've ever read any cocktail book, you change one ingredient, you change the ratio of one ingredient, and it is a different cocktail. So I would say that is the Tennessee Long Island that we're going to have today. And when you taste it, you'll see some similarities, but it is quite different. So what it is 1 ounce of vodka. It is 1 ounce of whiskey. It is someone who needs a much taller glass than this. Oh my God. I thought this was bigger. Hold on, let me scoop some ice out. There we go. And then we're gonna do 1/2 ounces of the remaining liquors of tequila, gin, and rum. and also a half ounce of maple syrup.
So there really is syrup in there. That's why it's so thick.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So yeah, if you
Oh.
didn't shake up your bottles before you poured them, for those of you playing the home game, then definitely give it a good stir. Or shake up the bottle a little bit, because that maple syrup probably did settle a little bit. I tried to mix them as best I could before they got transferred to you.
It's pretty good. It's pretty well mixed.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Let's see. And there's my maple syrup. La, 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 la.
Dan loves maple syrup. He drinks it straight.
You're talking to a guy who would easily just drink the straight syrup. Yes.
Chug it.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be your new nickname. Instead of Danjo, just call him straight syrup.
I have many nicknames, and a lot of them are food named or food additive.
Now, so this original didn't even have lemon or lime or cola in it, which is how I also keep saying, like, this is not the original cocktail. But it is still color-wise reminiscent of iced tea. It still kind of has that. I just stopped my video instead of actually switching over. There we go. Hey, guys. It still kind of has that color. I'm going to squeeze just a little bit of lemon juice in mine. I do like a lemon on top.
All right. So we want some lemon on top of that? All right.
I feel like it. Whew. Powerful stuff, son.
That's powerful. Like, turn your nose head how powerful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is still so a lot like an iced tea coming from the Prohibition era was a sort of a way of disguising your alcoholic beverage. To say like, oh no, officer, this isn't alcohol; it's an iced tea. But it's also a way to have one drink and to get you really, 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 really drunk.
It gets you drunk.
It gets you drunk.
That is fantastic.
And at the same time, it doesn't seem like it should work, but it's for just a bunch of alcohol thrown together. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely reminds me of waffles.
And I would also like to point out, I did a lot of research on this because it's a fairly contested cocktail within who came first. And what came down to for me was which Long Island came first, Long Island, Tennessee, or Long Island, New York. Long Island, Tennessee was founded in the late 1700s, like 1790, 1780, right in there. Long Island, New York was around for at least 100 years before that because it was a colony. So it was pre-colonial. It was mentioned as far back historically as I could find a date on the internet at like is either 1690 or like 1720 because there was trading was going through there. It is the longest island in the U.S., so it is a true Long Island. So I mean, I would give them at least credit for being the first Long Island. Cheers.
Well, you did your research. I appreciate that. I always thought it was Long Island, New York. I always thought that.
Me too.
Well, that's the one from the 1970s. Richard Butts is like he was in a cocktail competition. Triple Sec had just come out, and you needed to submit a cocktail with Triple Sec in it. So he made the Long Island iced tea as we know it.
That's hilarious. That doesn't even do Triple Sec justice, really.
It doesn't, and I didn't realize Triple Sec was that new. Like it's really only that old, okay? But I mean, it's swept the world. He became, well, at least within the cocktail world, famous and now infamous for it because everyone's like, you didn't do anything except add Triple Sec to a cocktail we already knew.
That's a fair point. Now, what year was that? You said Triple Sec was invented?
Well, it was this competition, so it was like 1970. It was either 72 or 76.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of like bluegrass and hip hop if you think about it, because like bluegrass is 75 years old now. That's like 44, 45 basically. Really? And then hip hop, and hip hop even younger than that. You call it 79. So we're sort of in a similar boat there. Yeah, people don't know that, but very new genres.
Yeah, wait, what did bluegrass come from?
Well, exactly. So bluegrass came from like the old time Appalachian string music being fused with a lot of different things. So you have a blues influence, you have New Orleans jazz, bunch of things. And it was basically, it's like if you took the folk music out of the mountains and literally the musicians go out of the mountains and into the first nearby city. So Atlanta probably has some bluegrass history, but you definitely have like Richmond and you have DC and New York and a lot of these cities that are just outside the Appalachian Mountain region. certainly North Carolina, Tennessee. And those are it's really like the old time folk music that goes into the city and gets electrified, and they get microphones and they amp it up a little bit and they make it snappy, which is interesting because it's kind of like how hip hop got started.
Yeah. So it's so for me, I always thought, so when I came to Atlanta, my brother all of a sudden was into bluegrass, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect this to happen. And I knew it came out of like the mountain traditional music, but I actually thought that's what the mountain traditional music was, and realized it was already
it's like one of those distinctions, like what is it, like country and western, where people are like, no, it's bluegrass and old time. People, because they're so similar, people make a real big deal about the distinction.
Sure.
Oh yeah, Delio, you've been trying to talk. Sorry, you're muted.
I didn't realize this whole time I was muted.
Oh no!
Waiting for you to say something.
I've been saying a bunch of stuff too.
Oh, I bet. Sorry, say it all again.
I have to go back and remember everything I was saying.
Well, so hip hop, at least, like hip hop was created.
Hip hop actually has a lot of Caribbean origins. It actually there was a Caribbean tradition called toasting that kind of like brought together the whole MCing tradition, and then the DJing stuff all came from like more of the sound clash that they would be doing. But it started like in the late 70s. Actually, a lot of what they pretty much basically trace the origins of hip hop to this one particular park in the Bronx on Cedar and Sedgwick in the 70s with Kool Herc and them.
Yeah.
But as far as its roots, they go way back.
Yeah. And you have this interesting moment where there's an influx of technology, there's a technological advance, and I think it's similar to how bluegrass is just old time, but with microphones and with recording and radio and television and all this stuff. And hip hop also, you have a big difference being there's this proliferation of state of the art turntables and mixing boards and really powerful sound systems and all of this stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's actually it said that if it wasn't for that blackout that happened in New York, then hip hop wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Well, because after the blackout, a bunch of people had new stereo equipment.
This is so strange. The lights go out and then they come back on, and your stereo is just way better.
We got some new shit.
It's funny. It's like
so weird.
Yeah.
With that, cocktail number 2.
All right, what we got?
All right, so cocktail number 2 is it's surprisingly another traditional drink. It is about 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces of bourbon, depending on what you're into.
Just pour some in there.
I'm using bourbon. 2 ounces. And then a mixer, which was the only soda ever invented as a mixer for whiskey. Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, as Dan pointed out before the show, is a reference to moonshine. The dew of the mountain. A lot of the moonshiners were up in the mountains, and so this was directly marketed to people who drank a lot of whiskey. It was invented by Dan and Allie Hartman in the 1940s, and it's literally what they were marketing it as just something to go with whiskey. And you might never think it. However, once you taste it, you realize it's kind of like the missing flavor that you didn't know was missing from Mountain Dew. Sleeve, did you say something?
No, I was surprised by the idea of a missing flavor. My face, I guess, spoke very loudly there.
Oh, it did. It almost looked like you spoke and were muted.
Yeah,
but it does. It mellows out the citrus flavor a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely from Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's such a simple thing. And they they got up by PepsiCo something like 18, 20 years after they invented it. and it was the only Mountain Dew was just original flavor caffeinated Mountain Dew up until the 80s, in which they started like inventing like, well, let's do diet, let's do red Mountain Dew, Code Red was 2001.
Yeah.
Like in 88, they're like, let's do red Mountain Dew, and people were like, no.
It just was before its time.
Now-
So yeah,
Right.
the whole time they should have just been doing hard Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
right. Apparently,
Right?
in one bottle.
And
That should be the
Malted
new thing.
malted Dew,
Yeah,
Mountain Dew hard
I
seltzer.
like it.
Hard
I like
Mountain
it.
Dew.
Wow, that's
When you're a hard mountain man, you need a hard mountain Dew.
there's your spokesperson right there.
Are
I
we
mean-
not phrasing anymore?
Get paid, man.
Yeah.
Get paid.
I
Get
think
that
we,
money.
I think we're doing phrasing again. Yeah.
I think we're doing
I like it. It's honestly a little sweet to me, and this is coming from the guy who drinks maple syrup straight out of the bottle. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's the balance.
Yeah, but you know what?
I like the first one for sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, Mountain Dew as a soda, I typically don't like because of how sweet it is. But
Yeah.
I feel like the whiskey evens it out.
Yeah, it melts
Yeah.
it up a bit. I agree.
Yeah.
And I would say, I think probably for Dan's palate, I would think more of moonshine. And actually, next time, if you still have some moonshine, grab like a small bottle of Mountain Dew at the gas station, because
Yeah.
the harshness of shine, like that
Yeah.
raw wet cardboard taste that it tends to have, would probably
You know
tone
what,
down the
John?
sweetness level for you.
You know
Yeah.
what, Sean, I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a Mountain Dew bitters.
Hey
That's my
now,
sound. I am going to make a Mountain Dew bitters.
that's a good
And
move.
let's-
That's a really good move, actually.
Bitters in general.
Yeah.
is good.
I like that idea, sir.
I've
That
been
will
known to make
subscribe to your
bitters. I've
mailing
got-
list.
I've made this bitters, which is the
Ooh, what is
cardamom bitters. But
Cardamom.
Nice,
yes,
Cardamom, yeah.
nice. That's
I
a
made
good move.
I made a drink with that, which we featured on the show. It's called the Schaefer's Plums.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
I've been actually wanting
Yeah.
to have something that has a smoked paprika in it.
Oh,
There you go.
oh.
Blackened bitters.
Where was I just the other day? I was in Pennsylvania and I had I had some
sorry.
kind of like a hot chicken dish. No, it was all right. It was worth it for the food. They had like a Nashville hot chicken type of thing.
Yeah,
and the hot
Pennsylvania
sauce was
doesn't have quite the same.
It was
range.
like a smoked paprika in the hot sauce. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm so sure of it. It was, yes, the good flavors, man. It's all about the good flavors.
So it's we already hit 11 o'clock. Why don't we do our second song? Not that I am not enjoying talking, I am, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dolio, what do you got?
So we're gonna keep it going after this, after
yeah.
the song, and that's gonna be the bonus YouTube version later on.
or
Uh-huh.
We're gonna
Patreon or
drink
whatever.
Where we're gonna drink moonshine and Mountain Dew. At least in my part, I'm trying this moonshine Mountain Dew.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry. My Zoom froze up on me for a second.
Uh-oh.
You want me to go with Nickel and Dime?
Yeah, do it, man. Do it. It mentions Mountain Dew. This is our only song
Great.
that
Yeah.
mentions Mountain Dew in it.
There you go.
See if you can catch the lyric.
This was the first single off the new album.
Told me there's a cure for all my ills. Well, I done up to the counter and I told him what I had. Now he said, you ain't got no money, you can't afford to be feel so bad. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line. Hey there, how you doing, ask the folks? I tell them all the same thing, old, black, and broken. They think that's a joke, but I ain't playing it. It's a whole lot of truth to what I'm saying. See, my bones crack, but I'm so pro-black, and I got so many bills, and they ain't those stacks. Hey there, Kojak, sucking on your lollipop. You think I can get a ride over to the trolley stop? I'm leaving my first gig, head to the next one. Sleep when I'm dead. I'm trying to get these checks, son. Hit the studio in full rock chem mode, cause my credit score is in permanent limbo. Speed up the tempo, I gotta get the paper. The garnish on my wages isn't adding any flavor. You can keep the weed and dank amounts. I'm trying to get Bowling Green in my bank accounts. Well, I went down to the bodega just to get a little Mountain Dew. Well, question. I asked him, what do you got for me? He said, I got this knuckle sandwich, and I'll give it to you for free. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line. Come on. From red dirt out the red hook. I've been rocking mic since before there was a Fed book. The left hook, the reason why your man got his head shook. From the PJs whip, you slip to get your bread took. Concrete floors made it chilly when the sun down. Somehow we all made it out from the rundown. Proper plan, forget it, getting played for a dumb clown. Took the less travel road, standing out amongst crowds. Old head with the fire of a jit. More heads, you can tell they a liar when they spit. Bald heads don't want flex with the line in his kids. All said it's really nothing if you climb with the fifth. I'm cooking cast iron in the pit. Your bread ain't really thick if all you buying is a bit. I cut it up in sections, then I fry till it's crisp. Season it a little more than required for the fix. Well, I could not pay my ticket, and I could not pay my bail. Well, the judge couldn't pay me the time of day, and he threw my ass in jail. Well, they gave me a nickel and a dime, and they placed them upon my eyes. For it cost much more to keep me here than it did to let me die. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line. I said, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars just to get me on down the line.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was great.
Nice. I
That's
know it
so
wasn't
much fun.
live, but it's still awesome.
That's so much fun.
It was semi-live.
Ah,
There we go.
man.
Yeah, Dolia was so courteous, he muted himself.
Yeah, I was trying to be courteous and
Record.
I muted myself, and I forgot that muting myself mutes that board. And I was like, yeah, there's a knob for that.
Yep.
All right.
But hey, if you want to hear the whole song, you gotta pre-order the album right now. It comes out in a week. And,
There you go.
That's right.
So
There will
excited about
be
that.
a link somewhere.
There's our segue to shameless plugs. Right
That's
there.
right. You can actually go to notimeforenemies.com, and that will take you right into the Gangsta Grass website to the No Time for Enemies page, and there's a link there where you can pre-save the album. Oh, we're having a contest. So if you enjoyed this, imagine having all of us also just sitting around shooting the stuff. And you know, there's 10 fans will be chosen who pre-save the link and enter their email address at that web address. ffm.to/notimeforenemies, I believe. But it's all there at notimeforenemies.com, and enter the contest, and we could all be just hanging out and having a happy hour together. And I might still have some of these drinks left because they're very strong, and I'm not going to finish them all tonight.
We'll put alcohol in your house.
Hey, we can come bring some beer for that.
Awesome.
If you want to do that, we can
Bring
come
more
up
than
and hang out and bring
7
some beer.
Yep. That's gonna be live.
Yep.
And sorry, and I believe I think also was if you share it on the socials.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got to do that.
If you share it on the socials and tag us in the socials when you share it, that also has I can't remember what the multiplier was, but it also increases your chances.
That's right. That's right.
It can't hurt your chances.
Can't hurt. Can't hurt. Yeah. So
It's like the lottery,
album.
that multiplier.
Exactly. Pre-save the album, enter your email address, share it on the socials, then tag us, and we'll see it and multiply your entry. Yeah.
So I know in the description of this video we have links to anything, but to everything that at least you tell us about. But is there any place specifically we should be looking for you, following you, sharing you, listening to you?
We are at Gangsta Grass on every single social media you can find.
All of it.
Facebook Gangsta Grass, Twitter Gangsta Grass, Instagram Gangsta Grass. I don't know, whatever those other ones are. You can find us on Spotify and Tidal and Apple Music and Amazon Music and wherever you stream your music. We are there. And one day we'll have live shows again, and you should all totally come out.
Next summer, hopefully, we're here for live shows.
2021.
Live shows. I miss my live shows.
Yeah,
We're just looking forward to hugging each other again. That's going to be
Yes.
True.
We're
What are you talking about? We can hug each other right now. Here, come over here.
Without a mask.
All right. That was so good. I love hugs. So I don't want to go off script, but yeah. So Sean, you said you had earlier that you had a question that you wanted to ask, but you weren't sure that you were quite ready to ask it yet.
Yeah.
Let's sign off live from Facebook, and then we'll do that in the post show.
Oh, give us a plug.
Barry Traveler, how to do teasers to the bonus content. Love it.
Bonus content.
All right.
You have to sign on for YouTube for this one. All right, so Sean,
Patreon, that mother effer. Regular episodes on YouTube.
That's right. Gangsta.
Okay. Gangstagrass.com. So for the Beery Traveler, of course, if you're watching us live on Facebook, great. Follow us, share us, like us, tell your friends. If you're watching this on YouTube, same. Subscribe, follow, like, comment, and also find us on Facebook because that's where you see these episodes first and live. On Facebook, we are Facebook or fb.me/Beery Traveler. On Instagram, we're _Beery_Traveler. On Twitter, we're Beery_Traveler. Our website, thebeerytraveler.beer. Our email, beer@thebeerytraveler.beer. Beer. Thank you to Essentia Water for donating a case of water to us. Smart. Yep. It does about it good. Yeah. It's delicious. And also thank you, Ty, the director. Although he is off this week, he had to work. He does direct us and tell us what we could do to look and be better, and we appreciate that. And I think that's everything I was supposed to say about us.
Yes. All right, everybody. Hey, we look for good times.
Is awesome.
Yes. Hey, everybody, we look for good times and great beers. Come check us out on Friday nights. We do this live stream. We also post little things all week long about beers, about our travels, about our little things that we find. So thank you for Gangstagrass for coming on. Thank you, Sean. Come see us again next Friday. We'll have something else for you. More beer, maybe more music. We'll see what we got. We don't know what we got. But until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you. Cheers.
Live stream over.